Welcome back to Horrors of History, and this is part 2 to Terrors and Truths of Thanksgiving. I've probably changed that name already, but that is the name of this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the journey of said Cavaliers. They were not Puritans to come over here to the Americas, basically to get rid of England's stronghold on religion. And they did have a very stronghold on their religious beliefs. And trust me, the rack in getting tortured for what you believed in was bound and determined if you did not do things their way. So there was 102 of them documented that would get on the Plymouth, and it would set sail in September, and it would take about 66 days to get over here to what would be called Sandwich, Cape Cod, not Plymouth. And in that voyage, it's messed up. There's multiple documents that say, well, 101 people passed away, and there was quite a few casualties, but there was only 102 people on that vessel. So how could there have been 101 on top of a couple hundred? No, it's not the fact. So be careful what you guys research up here. 95% of it is not factual. Now, only one guy passed away that is documented, and that's William Burke, as he was coming over here. And what a bad time to be landing in New England. Absolutely nothing to do with the end of November, like everybody thinks. They actually landed in, Cape Cod on December 18th. That is the speculated date where they landed. And what a time. I mean, you're coming smack dab in the winter. Talk about bad timing and talking about being persistent about when you're going to get over here. So it took them some time to get here in the winter. They're basically, for the time being, they're going to be on that vessel until it's warm enough to start setting up shop, which would be around the springtime when they start disassembling that ship to use it for buildings and whatnot. And once the buildings are set up, they are not in a comfortable position. They're not. They're still exploring the area. There's still a very angry bunch of folks that aren't happy that they are here. And more incidences and accidents, we'll just say they're accidents, would happen to the Cavaliers when they're out here. Now, when winter would come around again, the following year, and things would get a lot harder. Now, there's a lot of people that think that it's possible that the Pilgrims, when they're here, not only did they have what they could eat, but they may have resorted to cannibalism. Just like the village down in Jamestown, they have found skeletons and stuff that are supposed to be from that area that looked like they had human teeth marks in it. So it is possible that they actually converted to human cannibalism to survive the winter. Does that mean they killed them? No, probably not. They might have ate them while they were dead. I don't know. I don't know the exact, and none of us do. None of us will. But just like the Jamestown settlers that had come down to Virginia a lot earlier from Europe, this would be a nightmare. And unlike those settlers that were down in Virginia, though, these guys would be a little more successful. They would go on to other places, and they would start to basically colonize this area in New England from Europe. The first successful English colonized area in New England. And I say English to be specific, because you go back a lot further, and of course, like I said, the Norse and the Vikings did try colonizing this area unsuccessfully due to the natives. Now, one of the chiefs did take a little bit, I would say, like, not pity, but so much as almost like a peace treaty to try to be one with these folks, try to set aside something. And they did show them how to hunt. They did show them where to plant stuff. But as far as bringing them food to a table, I don't know. I don't know how much of that's true, because as a historian would go, not too many enemies are going to sit there and dine with their enemies. And the Pilgrims were definitely the natives' enemies at that point in time. They were taking up their land. They were taking up their resources, and they were none too happy that they were here. Now, they could have gone a drastic route. They really could have. Those natives could have gone to war and totally wiped them out. They did not. That's not what they wanted to do. They kept themselves to the point where, like I said, they tried to exist with them. And we know how that works out later on in American history. We did not do so well in trying to exist with the natives. Everybody has their poor me stories, and I'm not going to decipher and say the natives weren't equally as nasty, because unfortunately we as humans, we don't like to stay in one spot too often, and this big world, we don't share it too well. So when another human comes in, and usually we're the aggressors, and we're trying to colonize our ways of thoughts, our ways of thinking onto another set of humans that really wants nothing to do with that. And that's how wars and aggression strikes out. And this is no different from any nation, from Asia to Africa to Europe. We're all known for doing this. Humans are very territorial. We're very aggressive and very greedy. So it doesn't matter if natives or not. The natives, too, would do a lot of bloodshed. So they're not innocent, no means necessary. But they were definitely in the process of defending what was theirs and trying to make it so that we weren't taking it. Nothing that we wouldn't do today if someone didn't break into our house. It's just a different set of standards back then, and we looked at them as the aggressors, when in reality it was us that were the aggressors. I'm not trying to tell anybody out there, and key phrase from Tom McDonald's, I'm not telling you not to celebrate Thanksgiving, because the idea of Thanksgiving is to be sitting down and basically celebrating with your family. Maybe some victories, maybe the fact that someone got married, maybe the fact you're celebrating some huge accomplishment during the summer. You're celebrating the fact that you had a grateful bounty, a grateful harvest. So you're going to sit there and celebrate on that before the winter times come. Things get a little depressing, and the winter is very depressing. Trust me, white is not a good color, and things are going to settle down a little bit. So don't forget the history, but remember that in reality, this holiday is meant for us to celebrate for what we're thankful for, in reality, our family, and what we have, not what we don't have. So let's not do that. Let's not think of what the natives didn't have and what we don't have now. Let's think of what we do. And there is no nation that hasn't had a little blood shed on that soil. There's no continent that hasn't had that. So let's just take that back. And this is the end of part 2 of Truth and Terrors of Thanksgiving, the one and only Captain Rendrag. I have to put me sailing hat on, and we'll celebrate the landing of the Pilgrims. Rendrag, over and out to part 3.